6 Huge EastEnders spoilers next week from the 11th to the 14th of March 2024. 1. Eddie Knight blackmails George Knight over his birth mother. As Mother's Day arrives in Walford, Cindy Beale is excited to celebrate with daughters Gina and Anna Knight and son Peter Beale for the first time together. But at the Vic, George is struggling to cope after learning that no DNA matches have been found for him, so his birth family can't be traced. Cindy and Elaine Peacock insist it's time George told the girls the truth about his heritage, before the family leaves for Jamaica. George reluctantly agrees, and Gina and Anna are horrified to discover the truth about Eddie and the trial. George's adoptive mum Gloria Knight calls the pub, coerced by Eddie into begging George to defend him in court. George pays them a visit, telling him never to contact him and the girls again. But Eddie reveals he has information about George's birth mother, and he'll only hand it over if George gives him a character reference in court the following day. 2. George is approached by mystery visitor. George is in turmoil, and he mulls over Eddie's manipulative ultimatum, with his loved ones desperately worried about him. Elaine asks grandson Johnny Carter to talk through the legal implications of giving a statement in court, hoping to help George with his decision. But George remains conflicted, until a heart-to-heart with Linda Carter leads him to trust his gut. At the courts, Gloria is distracted by the arrival of a mysterious woman, while George takes to the stand. In the aftermath of the trial, Elaine is worried sick about George, and she and Cindy join forces to get George to calm down for the girls' sake. Then a visitor at the Vic changes everything, and later, Elaine and the girls begin a frantic search for George. But where is he, and who has turned up to see him? 3. Jack Branning suspicious as Stacey Slater visits Denise Fox. Stacey Slater and Jack are thrown together as Lily Slater and Ricky Branning celebrate Mother's Day at Walford East. Ricky and Amy Mitchell beg Jack to let them see stepmom Denise Fox in hospital, and he promises to speak to Chelsea Fox to try and make it happen. But Denise is refusing to see anyone, and Johnny insists that Stacey must get to Denise before Jack or the kids do, so as to stop the murderous secret being exposed. Johnny piles on the pressure for Stacey to sort the issue for the sake of all the women, so she asks Denise to let her visit. At the hospital, Denise tells Stacey she's no longer having visions of Keanu Taylor, but she wants to stay put. Stacey argues that Denise needs her loved ones around her, but at that moment, Jack walks in and demands to know what Stacey is doing there. Stacey thinks on her feet with a convincing cover story, but Jack is hurt when Denise continues to reject him. When Denise talks to Dr. Abe later, she explains that she feels safe in hospital and wants to stay. Meanwhile, Jack is still rattled by Stacey and Denise's bond, and starts doing some digging. Will he uncover the truth about Keanu's murder? 4. Eve unwinds fears over Suki Panise's big offer. Vinny Panesar tells Suki to make it up with Eve, who is still smarting from Suki moving out of the Slaters. Suki apologizes and invites Eve to move into the Panesar home now that the lease is in her name, but Suki doesn't get the response she hoped for. Penny Branning becomes an unlikely confidant for Eve, who is worried that living with Suki's family would be a recipe for disaster. Eve finally talks her fears through with Suki, but will the couple come to a decision together? 5. Jean Slater helps Jade Massoud with charity event. Jean steps in to save the day when Jade is about to cancel her charity auction, but there's a lot to do and not much time. Jean struggles with a lack of donations for the auction, until Pastor Clayton and Yolande step in to help. While things begin to look up for Jean and Jade's project, as the prayer group hands over a huge amount of stuff, the week takes a distressing turn for Yolande. 6. Yolande Truman troubled by local gossip. Yolande is elated by the progress for the auction, but is soon upset to discover from fellow churchgoer Agatha that people are whispering about her relationship with Pastor Clayton. Later, an incident at the church leaves Yolande feeling even worse about the rumors. But when Pastor Clayton makes Yolande tell her what's going on, he denounces the gossips, and gets Yolande to promise it won't affect their friendship. Will Yolande be able to rise above the fake news? While things begin to look up for Jean and Jade's project, as the prayer group hands over a huge amount of stuff,